episode 253.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek, giving you the info you need to achieve mega nerd status. NetHeads.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
Yeah, that's right, everybody. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring. My name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
And the Glasso is back. That's right. If you want to take part in the program, this is NetHeads. If you want to take part in the program, you can. One of many ways. One of them, I feel like you just told me about it, Trent, is Twitter. How do they do that?
Yeah, you just use the hashtag NetHeads. Very simple. You can join Matthew Corey at RollerDogNC, who's currently tweeting live. Or if you're on the podcast, you can jump back later, tweet at us. Will, I think at least some of the pluses of tweeting at us is that you can kind of direct the show a little bit.
Not only direct it, but completely distract us, screw us up, and derail us, which is
Derail
always the best part. You can also call us real easy, NetHeads on air via Skype. There's many different ways. There's 866-610-WILL. There's YakBet9020. There's all these different things, but I think most people can just relate to the Skypes. And so Skype is probably just the easiest way, right?
Probably. Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you've got what's it called? A Windows device, you have to use Skype.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
And every time it updates, it says Skype is your default talking thing.
Speaking of updating, Trent, I always love that our intro says achieving mega nerd status.
Yeah, mega nerd status.
But I did a last-minute update of OBS, and so that's why there was no audio at first.
Yeah, but I tell you what, man, I downloaded the most recent OBS Studio, and holy smokes, it is so much like the UI on it, because I was using a really old version. The UI on it is so much better than it used to be. It was horrible.
Yeah,
now
especially now that you don't have to, it doesn't have sticks and rocks and.
Dude, like you had to copy and paste code and do this and that, and it's pretty damn simple.
By the way, you got a lot of headroom in your shot, man. Look at that. It's like, but I like it because you can see a little more of the death ray back there.
Yeah.
By the way, congratulations. I see that recently a little bit of rebranding has been going on. You used to, you still do. You had this wrestling podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have this awesome logo from Death Ray Comics, and you said, you know what? Screw it. Let's combine the two.
Yeah, that's kind of been something I figured it would be my summer project would be to kind of rebrand the a part of him just as Death Ray, and so I bought deathray.media, and so everything will be there at deathray.media.
There you go. Very cool.
Yeah.
And the new name for the wrestling podcast is
Death Ray Wrestling. So I'm hoping everything will be very simple. So it's like aside from like Shoshowitz, the ones that I've already got pretty established, but it'll be like Death Ray Wrestling, or there will be a comic book one called Death Ray Comics.
He's rebranding, everybody. You got to be aware of your brand.
Yeah, brand awareness is very important.
Speaking of brand awareness, Trent, today it would appear anyway, even though we couldn't get the audio kicked off to save our goddamn lives.
No.
It would appear that we are actually multicasting. We're going out on YouTube. Well, first of all, we're going out on Smodco Internet Radio.
Yep. It's modcast.com.
We're also going out on YouTube. We're
at youtube.com.
Potentially Facebook Live.
At facebook.com/NetHeadsOnAir.
Something like that. I think YouTube maybe NetHeads on air as well. And on Twitch, because boy, look at all that gaming we're doing right now.
Yeah. Twitch.tv/NetHeadsOnAir.
Very good. And so I guess our brand kind of is NetHeads on air, huh?
NetHeads on air, because that's what we are. We're on air.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, I think everyone is on air unless they're not alive.
No, they're in air. We're on air.
Oh, well, I was just thinking like
we're on the air, baby.
but we're on air too. You know what I mean? Like I've got this good oxygen going, baby.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, ooh, I'm feeling it. I am feeling it.
I think you're right, man. I think you are completely right. Anyway, I am wearing Google Glass for once.
Yeah, I see that. Not
hold
for
on,
once.
hold on,
You've long adapted, been an early adapter to the Google's glasses.
Well, let me explain. Yeah, I was almost a late adopter right before the crash. Technically, this is usually how you see me wearing Google Glass now because it's my sunglasses. But these lenses are also polarized, so I can't see any of the screen, so I couldn't do that. And but I'm wearing it because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 2 days ago, the Android app was updated, and then yesterday, there was an update XE23 Explorer Edition 23 for Google Glass. So for the 4 other people like me that still use it, there was an update. They added some bug fixes, and they added support for adding like Bluetooth interface devices, like a keyboard or a mouse. And there's an amazing feature now too that you can say, okay, glass, make me look less like a glass hole.
Oh my goodness!
And there we go. See, look at that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was 5 seconds of a bit, folks. I hope you enjoyed it for the video.
Yeah.
We did a little something for you. Yeah, I'll admit, Google Glass, like I said, it's mostly my sunglasses now. However, there are times where it still really comes in handy. Like a few weekends ago, we went on a family trip to the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are pushing a stroller and dealing with a toddler and you got your family and everything else, it's really nice just to be able to do that creepy wink and it takes a picture. So, like, I got a lot of great pictures. Blair loves hammerhead sharks. I don't know why, but
yeah.
she loves them hammerheads.
I mean, of all the sharks, they're probably, after the whale shark, they're probably my favorite shark, and I love sharks, dude.
Well, they're they're the most interesting. I don't understand the evolution there unless it was just like, I don't get it. Why would they be like that? Why? You have any clue?
I'm sure evolution or foxes, greyhounds, heat-seeking missiles.
I don't know. So it's great for that. But, other than that, I mean, like, realistically speaking, it's outdated tech. My watch does almost as much as it does, and it gives me that it gives me that immediate satisfaction that I need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Immediate notifications and everything else. Plus, it's socially a lot less awkward to walk around in.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Although I will admit, I do have 2 pairs of these glasses. And part of me has been tempted to do the same thing that Casey, I think his name is Neistat, did in one promotional
Put it on
video.
the side?
Yeah, turn it into one of the arms of my glasses.
Yeah, which would be, I mean, not difficult, right?
No. Well, I mean, there would be a little manipulation, articulation, and some drilling, but no, it wouldn't be too... I mean, it looked like a big ordeal for him to go through. Look, let's face it, I'd screw it up.
And, well, just make sure you don't get an impedance mismatch.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, don't cross the horizontal into vertical.
No, like if you put a UHF into a VHF, oh, you're gonna have problems, buddy.
I'm just gonna go ahead and adjust the contrast right now. I think that's the best thing to do.
Good call.
So one of the things we said when you interact with us on Twitter, you can distract us or help direct the show. One of the things that came up, and I'm not really hip to this because I think we've made an estimated total of 11 cents on YouTube, so it's not like I concern myself with these things.
Yeah.
But Matthew Corey, Roller Dog NC on Twitter said, if there is time on the next NetHeads, could a part of him talk more how the YouTubes change their money formula so that they're paying less? Are you aware of this trend?
Yeah, and I did some research into it to try and get down to the nuts and bolts of it. So essentially, the first aspect is you have to have an accumulative viewership or views. So meaning the amount of views for all of your videos, whether you have one video or 6,000, you have to have had 10,000 views before you can then monetize through ads. Now this is separate than YouTube content partnerships, which is a whole other thing, which I haven't got into. So this is just you saying I want to enable ads to run on my videos so that I can get money from those ads showing, right? Which is was pretty basic for everyone, and you only got the money if someone watched it to the end. So if they skip after the 5 seconds, it doesn't matter, whatever. Anyway, so that's number one. Number two is into their, so once you have 10,000 views, cumulative views, it then goes under a review process, which I have found to be the most I can't find anything about it. There is no objective literature saying that if you do this, 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 and this, then you'll be approved. I don't know if people are looking at it, if robots are looking at it. I have no idea.
It's always the robots, Trent.
I would think so because it's Google, right? So there's that, and then on top of that, there are content restrictions, and most of the content restrictions are the basic user policy stuff. No hate speech. Don't do anything that we would encourage people to hurt themselves. Like don't show how to like build a bomb, or no pornographies, anything along those lines, right? There's a new caveat though, that is age-restricted videos cannot be monetized with ads.
What is now age-restricted? Meaning you're going to be doing some. So like the average. What about like the language in the average episode of Fat Man on Batman?
Okay, so this is where I got into it. Their definition. Let me pull up their exact definition. Blah blah blah.
Now, is that a high definition or a low definition?
I think it's an ultra high definition because it's coming right from the source.
Oh, okay, very good.
Blah blah blah. This is the one I wanted to read. We are about age restricted content. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So vulgar language, violence and disturbing imagery, nudity, and portrayal of harmful or dangerous activity. So those things are still available to be on YouTube, but they come with an age restriction. Now, as far as vulgar language goes, which is kind of what falls into say what probably a lot of what we listen to or watch. It says some language is not appropriate for younger audiences. Use of sexually explicit language or excessive profanity in your videos or associated metadata may lead to age restriction of your video. So it's a self-police thing, right? So if someone got on and was like, this should be age restricted, they submit it, then it's reviewed, and they say yes, it is. This is age restricted, and then you still get the money that you got up to that point, but after that point, you can no longer monetize it.
Goddamn YouTube cops, man!
But again. What is excessive?
That is a great question. I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, I highly doubt that a video that's getting 200,000 videos that says the F word 6 times in it is going to be age restricted. I highly doubt that.
Yeah.
Because it helps YouTube.
Yeah, it's not ours to know, Trent. That's not our place. It's just
right.
That's not us. But they also, legally speaking, they'll always keep these things so vague on purpose, so that way they have an out, if you will. And I know it really seems to me that either YouTube is realizing it's just bleeding cash, or they are I don't know what it is, because it seems like for 2 or 3 years now, there's just this cycle of every 4 to 6 months, there's another person mentioning a change on YouTube. So now certain videos aren't getting monetized anymore, or the way they're getting paid is different, or any of these things.
Yeah, it is one of those things, and I mean, even before you can get your first check, you have to accumulate $100 worth of ad revenue,
right? Which we're never gonna do.
And assuming that you've already met your 10,000 and it's been reviewed in good standing. Now, YouTube, I think this was announced back in March. This came to effect because nicely, I mean, this is what the reaction was. Supposedly, there was a lawsuit in the United Kingdom because advertisers had their ads shown on like terrorist videos.
Oh wow, that sucks.
Yeah, and so they brought this lawsuit, and then so this supposedly is a reaction to the litigation that was taking place there, where advertisers want to make sure that they can rest assured that their products aren't being associated with bad things.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. The last thing Coca-Cola wants to do is be on an ISIS recruitment video.
Totally. Like the last thing Pepsi wants to do is pander to a millennial movement of slacktivism by curing the world with having a Pepsi and bridging the Black Lives Matter
Oh my
movement.
God, dude!
with
I
the
can't believe
police.
you brought that up. Only
The
because
last thing Pepsi would do.
yeah, definitely. Well, again, right? Anyway, oh look, the phone is ringing. Trent, should we answer it?
Might as well.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. Let's answer the phone, or we'll try and it'll crash. You're live with Will and Trent. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
It's Ryan, guys.
Oh, well, that's a shock. Trent, it's Ryan
Hi,
Connolly.
Ryan. Hi, Ryan Connolly. How are you?
I'm all right. I got my 2 cents to add on this YouTube baloney.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
let's-
This I didn't
let's-
expect. Please hit us with your
Let's hear it,
wisdom.
Ryan.
Okay, so do you guys know who PewDiePie is?
Oh, I think.
Yes, and I know
We're-
exactly where you're going now.
Yeah, because I forget who I think it might have been the New York Times. Somebody did a nice takedown of PewDiePie about how he was a Nazi and stuff like that when he was actually making fun of Nazis. And it was like a 3-second video clip that they showed of him in front of a screen with some Nazi imagery on it. And they started with that and talking about all the people that were ads that were being run on his channel, and people started dropping him left and right.
Yeah,
And that got the
Disney
whole
Channel.
ball rolling.
Right.
yeah. I mean, it pretty much ruined him, at least in the YouTube respect. If
I
you're,
mean,
if you're not
and
going to start
it's
that car, it's just going to keep making that noise, dude. I'm just saying.
I'm going to shut the door. Anyway, thanks, Will.
My pleasure, sir. Well, yeah,
Uh.
and obviously that was an out of context thing. At least the sound bites or the bits that you're saying they want. I personally haven't looked at it either way, so I don't know. But obviously it did a lot to really damage his brand. Boy, I didn't really think we'd be so brand centric this
Well,
episode,
I mean,
Trent.
and it all just kind of you put your money where what you support. That is not unlike what happened to the Breitbart former contributor.
The guy, Yano, I don't know. It starts with a Y, right? Yamanopoulos?
Yiannopoulos, yeah. I mean, he had a short audio clip that was maybe taken out of context, not really sure, but it was enough to frighten people away that they didn't want to be associated with him anymore.
Well, yeah, because I think that contextual thing was like about either pedophilia or something
It
along
was.
those lines.
yeah, Milo Yiannopoulos is his name.
Yeah,
that's
there you
right.
go. Anyway.
And then there's what's happening to somebody me and Will like to at from time to time, Mr. Philip DeFranco.
Well, I know I saw it. What's happening to him?
Well, he'll put something newsworthy on his show, terrorist attack, somebody getting shot by a cop, somebody shooting a cop, and his show will get demonetized and buried behind all sorts of age restrictions and taken off the trending and noteworthy page. And then you can click on a CNN video, which is actually showing video of like bloody bodies on the ground, and they're still being monetized.
Ooh, that's
Mm.
interesting.
That's very interesting. So if you guys want to check out more about that, you can Google Phil DeFranco. I personally am not currently intimate with it, but I know I've seen him do a few videos around demonetization of things, even when they just change the rules. And it's interesting, too, when you think about it, because recently, Trent, well, I don't know about how recently, but like the last time I hit the front door for his YouTube channel, he was talking, the video that was present was talking about how excited he was because for the first time in the longest time, he is a solo creator again. He is using the platform as himself. There's no partner content,
Right.
content partnership or studio production per se that's partnered with him. This is just him going at it alone. Isn't that right, Ryan?
Yep, and he's trying to start up a whole news channel that's very his kind of showing the news, which is showing you the facts and stuff and then saying, but aside from the facts, these how I feel. This is how I feel about it. How do you guys feel about it? Which is why I get lots of my news from him, because he won't talk about something till he's got the facts straight.
And the stuff.
And then, listen here.
Well, I'm sorry. You did say, the facts and stuff. So that's
I want, and I don't know, but I wonder if part of his problem is that he may not own the rights to the footage that he shows.
Sometimes he doesn't even show any footage. It's just him talking about terrorist attack, and he'll get demonetized, where a CNN or the like will be playing that kind of footage, which is much more graphic.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't even, 9 times out of 10, he doesn't even name the names of whoever is pulling off these atrocities, because he's one of those kind of people that thinks that those people don't need to be named, but the victims do.
Yeah.
And he'll get demonetized, but somebody who's showing blood and guts on the ground, that's a big company, is still making money.
Yeah, so he doesn't take the Elaine Bennis approach to things, who famously named names.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Trent, for bringing it back.
Well, guys,
yeah,
I'm going to run over to Buffalo Wild Wings and get me some dinner. I'm glad I got to talk to you guys for a moment, though. I miss y'all.
Dubs.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, sir, and thank you for bringing something both on topic and interesting to think about.
But you're welcome, for the first time in forever.
There you go. Well, that's kind of how we feel about us getting on the air lately. But thanks a lot, man. Good luck with the wings.
One love.
Bye, guys.
On Twitter, using the hashtag NetHeads, Matthew Corey says it's Card Talk with Will and Trent.
Exactly. I prefer more Z Digital 13s. It always amazes me that this man who can speak so passionately and well-informed is also the inventor of Dildonics.
Oh, that's a shirt that still needs to get made. The Dildonic Institute.
Yes, sir. Can you imagine, though? I mean, because it almost sounds like Gizmonics Institute. So, I'll tell you, during the MST3K revival, when watching those, every time I hear Gizmonics, I think Dildonics.
Well, and oh man, I haven't jumped in yet. But what has sold me, and to put it in my queue, and I didn't know this, Elliot Kalin is a writer for it. Elliot Kalin, former writer, head writer of The Daily Show. He does the Flophouse, and he writes comic books too. Anyway, he's brilliantly funny, and he and I have the same wheelhouse as far as age goes, and so, he'll jump into a Golden Girls parody at a moment's notice for the theme song, which is the greatest theme song of all time. So,
well,
I definitely
Trent,
need to check it out.
Thank you for being a friend.
And if I threw a party and invited everyone, you would see the biggest gift would be for me, and it would say, "Thank you for being a friend."
There you go, my friend. Look, you can learn everything from Golden Girls, right?
Did you see the video the picture that Roller Dog NC tweeted? And I have to agree with him. He says you should get one of these. It's a plush hammerhead for your daughter. It is awesome.
She's already got one. We got it at the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Oh, shut up! Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I'm telling you, she loves the hammerheads, and I think it was even promised to her.
That is awesome. My girlfriend has a plush of a whale shark, and it's ginormous. It's huge. Yeah.
By the way, the hammerhead's name, Hammy.
Hammy makes sense. Yeah.
I thought very direct and to the point. By the way, I just got to tell you, not that people want to hear about this kind of thing. However, amongst many other things that I am in this world, whatever metaphor you choose to make or whatever you choose to call me, I can't control that. But one of the many things I am is a father, and I'm kind of going through this re-experiencing almost on a decade delay of experiencing what it's like to raise a child. I've got one that is turning 14. Hold on.
Oh my gosh, dude!
She's turning 14 this year.
Really?
And then one that in just a matter of days is turning 3. So it literally is like a decade delay.
Yeah.
And so like this past week, really literally 1 week. Somehow within 1 week's time, Blair has essentially been potty trained.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what the heck. I mean, this kid is very determined. She's doing lots of weird things, man, but in a great way.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so she, we introduced her to the concept, and there was like that finally that just going back in and sitting every once in a while, and then there
Yeah.
was that one time it worked, and it was just like almost from that moment it clicked. Within the first
Just click.
2 days, she was letting us know she had to go to the bathroom and asking us to take her, and
Yeah.
and now I guess the best way to put it is everything's been high and dry for like 96 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's determined. So now the next thing too is, because she's coming up on 3, and we did co-sleeping, and so sometimes she's usually within our room at night.
Sure.
And suddenly she's once again just headstrong and determined. Now that she's wearing big girl pants. I don't know what the right way to say this
Underwear.
is. Thank you. Now that she's wearing big girl clothes.
Yes.
Now suddenly she wishes to be independent and just be in her room all night. So
Dude, that is awesome. So
Yeah.
you never had like in two ways. Like I still have problems with wetting the bed and sleeping by myself, and in both cases usually my roommate wakes up and tells me to get the hell out.
I don't blame him. That's a little creepy, but not to mention if you're like cuddling up to him and you say Will, he's like, "Are you talking to me or thinking of him?"
And you're like, and I just say, "Shh, let it happen."
I don't know what the hell happened. So Trent, excuse me,
Sir.
Yeah, I don't know about you. Oh God, I really said that. Sorry. I'll try and eradicate that one from my lexicon. We both saw earlier today, and this is kind of thought provoking.
Yeah.
And we're not bringing it up in any way to take any political position or anything else.
or to aggrandize
Assassination,
murder, battle, war,
Right.
whatever you call it. We're just looking at the feat itself.
Yeah, there is a Canadian sniper that, let's just say, took down a target from like
Yes.
2.1 miles.
Yes.
Now, I know I was impressed by this, but I think you're a little more passionate about it, so I'll defer to you.
This is insane, man. 12,000 feet was the shot. And he was up in a tower that was just over 1,000 feet. And so he's shooting down. And so like there are so many factors in shooting ballistics, anything. Oh God, one of the greatest games on one of the original color Macs that we had in the school was Artillery. Do you remember that game?
Was that the one where you're just launching a bomb to try and hit a target?
Yeah, there's like 2 castles on each side, and you're just shooting a cannon, and you're just trying to go one over the other.
Mhm.
Yeah. And if the wind was blowing, you'd have to change the powder.
Well, another point too that you got to think about is air temperature, and the reason why I bring that up, not
Yes.
only is it because my watch told me a few minutes ago that it was 107 outside.
Good Lord.
Yeah, man, welcome to Arizona.
Ugh.
But
Ugh.
also recently during this heat wave that we've had, Arizona was expected at 120 degrees. In Phoenix, and so the Phoenix airport, certain airlines had to cancel certain flights because the maximum temperature that these planes can operate at is 118 degrees, because
Yeah.
anything higher, the air gets thinner and they can't get that sweet lift that they
Can't
need.
get the lift that they need. Yeah, the air is too thin. Exactly.
So if you think
yeah.
about it too, you're talking about this bullet that is also traversing the air and temperature, not to mention gravity, my friends. It's
Totally.
still at play.
Yeah, and it's basically math equations that usually the spotter for a sniper team, they have a person that's got a scope spotting and telling them where to shoot and how to adjust and everything, figures out the math for the drop, the trajectory, the wind and everything, so that they can get it in dialed for the shot to hit its target. And the previous one up to this, it was like, I want to say it beat the last record by like 1,000 feet.
Yeah,
Like, this is insane. I mean, granted, he's using a 50 caliber rifle, which is a small cannon in and of itself, but that's, I mean, for someone like myself who's done quite a bit of target shooting, it is crazy how just the smallest variables can affect a shot and can make it, if you're a hunter, very dangerous in that aspect. Not knowing your sights, what the not knowing your weapon well enough that you can shoot something, miss by more than you thought or were anticipating, and it could go awry or anything like that. So the fact that he uh, a dead on shot, no pun intended, at 12,000 feet, man, this is I honestly have a hard time wrapping my brain around this.
And here's the part that really lets you know just how far this is. We all have whatever our perception is of what a speed a bullet goes at once it's shot. Okay,
right.
This bullet was in the air, in flight, for 10 seconds. And I'm not even going to demonstrate how. Actually, I'm going to. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here is how long this bullet was in the air, starting now. Target acquired.
So I mean, essentially, the sound, they probably heard it before it hit its target.
Trent, I got to tell you, I still have a funny feeling, regardless if you heard it, you weren't the target.
That's a valid point. I accept that.
Out of context, this sounds wrong, but Roller Dog NC is pointing out after potty training, the next step is teaching her to beat the peach tree. But again, out of context, the peach tree, by the way, is still continuing its path of suicide because I've failed to get it properly groomed. Trimmed is the appropriate term.
Yes.
So lots of limbs are currently breaking. Yesterday, I was out there with a shovel, going with the flat end of a spade, just trying to knock some developing fruit off so that it hopefully doesn't kill itself. Because the limbs will snap off. It's amazing. Every season when I have to load up all of the fruit that went to pot, when I'm loading it into the green garbage can, for the yard clippings and stuff, it amazes me how much those bastards weigh. I'm also not understanding where the hell it's getting the water from.
Dude, those roots run deep. So deep.
They must, because I've gotten lots of fruit still, even during the drought, and now the drought's been gone. So wherever that maybe it's poking into the pool. I don't know.
So I'm looking at some specs for the 50 caliber long range sniper rifle, and they say the maximum effective range is 2,000 yards.
Wow. So that's going well beyond the specs, too.
Well beyond the specs. They say the maximum range total is around almost 7,500 yards, but this one, but at like an effective, so like a sightable range that you can shoot. I'm assuming well trained is 2,000 yards, and they blew way past that.
Yeah, my only experience with this, because I haven't seen like the good movies, but the other day I was watching Ben Affleck's The Accountant.
Oh, yeah.
And it shows him firing a similar type gun, and he is, a lot of it is he's just doing all this math on his paper, and then he redresses it, and maybe does a final click, and then gone. Target's gone.
Yeah. So that's this was over 4,000 yards. So it was double the effective range, the maximum effective range.
I think we're looking for, is that 200%?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. There's no way I got math right. Hey, but if I did, let's root for Will. Just this one time.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just really interesting. I mean, aside from the political aspects and everything, I just like it's cool to see someone do something at the height, like to reach a near perfectness, right? Like an example is recently my roommate has introduced me into watching Machinists. And I'll tell you what, I don't know anything about machining, but to see some of these guys who are very good and take their craft very seriously create these pieces out of just sheer chunks of metal. I mean, it's cool. It's the same thing as watching, like a LeBron James play basketball. Like it's just seeing someone
or a talented glass blower putting together an amazing piece of glass work.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's just crazy to me that's
got to be some crazy zen though, just sitting there watching them grind parts down and
Oh, dude, it is though. It is, especially, they'll measure it, and some of them they're working on like pistons and stuff for ships, and so they're a chunk of aluminum this big, and they're just shaving off a little teeny bit.
If you got if you let me tell you something, folks. If you ever wonder if we're going to war somewhere, make yourself friends with a machinist, a good quality one, because
Yep.
I guarantee you, if we're gearing up for war, they're going to start getting orders, and they're going to have to be manufacturing probably the same goddamn ball bearing or washer over and
Yep.
over, because it's going to be specifically for the military to be able to
Yep.
deploy.
Yep, very true.
So there you go, the little word of wisdom for you. Yeah, that's an amazing thing, though.
Yeah, and I wonder how I don't know if and if we have any service people serving in the armed forces could weigh in, that would be great. I just wonder if this is kind of like a kick in the shorts to like American snipers, whereas the Canadian government is, or excuse me, the Canadian military is so much smaller and spends so much less money on defense compared to us, that the record's now held by a Canadian.
Oh, yeah, good point. And and then the suck. Well, hopefully maybe they could just take it to a target range to,
Well, yeah, ideally, right? Yeah.
yeah, perfect.
But
world.
again, yeah, like if who knows?
But
like,
do you
that's
think this
just-
was
yeah.
here's my question though, because this is really a weird circumstance. You know what I mean?
It is,
So
yeah.
do you think this? I mean, did this come about as a planned mission thing, or? I mean, I don't mean to go too dark here, but or was it kind of like a? There's no way you can shoot him over there, eh?
Dude, that's and I am like, so they say that it was just part of a task force 2, which is like their special ops, who are working with the Americans to fight the ISIS insurgency in Iraq. That's all that they really talked about it. But the thing is, I like, in my mind, and the friends that I have that have served in the military, there are doldrums, that just like dead time of just nothingness. That's and there are times, talking to my friends that have done tours in Iraq, that you kind of joke about things that outside of that context seems pretty morbid or whatever. But in my mind, I totally hear this not even the sniper, but like his spotter in the barracks the night before, like ragging on all the Americans that they're poor shots and blah blah blah, and well, that blah 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 that's out there, from we can see it and blah blah blah, and I'll bet you 20 loonies that we can.
And a box of Tim Tims.
I seriously, in my mind, dude, that it makes sense. I hope it's more strategic than that.
Timbits, sorry.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's still one of those, or as I like to think of now, one of those interesting things to distract you while reading the news.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because that's pretty much where I'm at now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I've learned if I don't want to be popping Zoloft like M&Ms, I'm just gonna have to, I'm gonna have to be picky and choosy about my news.
Yeah. Pick and choose your news and watch some machinist videos.
There you go, to get that inner home.
Just be like, oh yeah.
Actually, what I got to tell you, speaking of watching, one thing I have not seen yet, and I really want to see this movie. And every time I'm on Forbes reading news that I shouldn't be reading, every once in a while they'll show a special cut scene from the Michael Keaton movie The Founder, which is basically the story of Ray Kroc, right?
I haven't even heard of this.
Yeah, it's Michael Keaton. It actually has I recently somebody did or I was thinking Nick Offerman. I'm like, why do I feel like I've been looking at Ron Swanson? But it's because Nick Offerman is in that clip, is in the movie as well. He plays one of the McDonald's brothers that had the original location. But I believe the story is basically how Ray Kroc ended up essentially founding the franchise business of McDonald's and then developing into what it is now.
Yeah, which I mean, essentially set the stage for what franchising in the world is.
Yeah, and so every time I see that clip, I really want to see it. So I'm hoping I
Wow,
can
that
do
that
that
actually sounds
soon.
awesome. I would love to see it.
Yeah, definitely. That's the founder. It's also old news. I mean, I wouldn't be doubted if it was a 2016 movie at this point.
Well,
But
that's fine.
yeah, but yeah, and from what I've read, just in my interest in seeing that, I'm not necessarily sure that this was a good relationship between Ray Kroc and the McDonald's brothers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, potentially. But the way
Huh.
they show this wonderful clip though, because like part of the innovation that McDonald's has was the speedy delivery
Totally.
of the food. And they show how the brothers in this dramatization that's a movie. And yes,
Right.
I know I'm not looking through the magic screen and seeing into the past how it really happened, but like they show just how they drew the restaurant out on a tennis court and were putting their workers through this orchestration in order to achieve a burger that goes from grilled to bag in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And that was their answer, something they had to develop because of the decline of the drive-in business.
Right, because it started out as a drive-in, right? Am I right?
Yes,
The
yeah, that was
McDonald's drive-in.
Yeah, originally it was and we're talking like old, not drive-in movie theaters, folks, but like a drive-in
Yep.
hamburger
And the
joint.
car hop comes out on
Yep.
a roller skates and gives you your food and goes ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-chink and gives you your change.
Yes, which people just don't. We're talking gibberish now,
Dude,
Trent.
there is still my grandma ran a drive-in for a while in the 60s, and there is still a drive-in in my hometown that's open during the summer, and it makes a killing.
I wouldn't doubt it though, because now this is the perfect time. You see
Yep.
these retro arcades that open up now, like
Totally.
Yestercade or whatever it is that's over by the Secret Stash. What is it? Something Red Bank, Front Street, Red Bank, New
Yeah.
Jersey. Anyway, there's a big retro movement, okay, and so this is the time to cash in on it. So just having a neat novelty like that, seasonally
Totally.
speaking, would be
Yep.
really cool. But then
Well,
again,
yeah.
Sonic still kind of supports that model somewhat, don't they?
To some extent, yeah, they do. I hate Sonic's food.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I've only had it once when we were in Texas. That was it.
It was when I worked at the Harley Davidson dealer. We shared kind of like an entrance off the main road from it, and so it was easy just to go over and get lunch there when we were busy. But it was awful.
Yeah. It's not like a Five Guys, man. Have you had Five
Oh,
Guys?
we got a Five Guys, and I'll tell you what, Utah now has 5 in and or outs.
Oh wow, it's just going crazy up in
Yeah.
there, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing the way they're expanding too, because there's literally 2 In-N-Out burgers within not even 7 minutes of each other by the freeway over here. Because
Oh, really?
Yeah, because basically one serves it's immediately off. Well, they're both immediately off the freeway, but one basically serves like a whole shopping center business area, and the other just services those of us that live out here, kind of thing.
Well, I was gonna say, is one northbound traffic and one's on the southbound traffic side?
Amazingly enough, Trent, that is the case.
That makes sense. Man,
Son
I
of
tell
a-
you what, there are so many dining decisions I make by whatever is on the right side of the road, because I don't want to make a left-hand turn. Are you kidding me? Hell no.
I know exactly what you mean. I like one thing, and this is so stupid, but quite often when I get in my car and I have to go get gasoline, I get absolutely aggravated that from basically almost any point in the city that I live in, you can't be going to the freeway and get gasoline. It's all on the left-hand opposite
Isn't that the
side.
most frustrating thing in the world? I will pay more gas, like I will pay, whatever it is, 2-3 cents more for gas to go in on the right side of the road, because it's a lot. It's a big investment.
It's also just so much easier. Come on, I mean,
Yeah.
you're a lot less at risk, and
Oh, for a motorcyclist, absolutely. Left-hand turn is a death stamp.
yeah, you're tempting things right there. You gotta be careful. But then again, hey, at least it's summer weather, right? What's the weather like in beautiful Utah?
Yeah, I just looked it up right now, and granted, I'm on the other side of the Wasatch Front, so not.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Don't be whipping out your Wasatch Front on
Hey,
air.
all
We
I'm
want to
saying is-
monetize.
All I'm saying is it's large.
Okay.
And it creates a lake effect.
Okay.
No, it's like 85 degrees right now here, but it feels so much hotter. I'm not sure why.
Humidity?
Um, but this is already the hottest June on record for Utah.
Yeah, and plus we've been having this thing here too, because literally it's been triple digits all week. I just keep waiting for the electricity to go out, because
Oh
and I'm
yeah,
walking around turning off lights because they're asking
yeah,
as I sit here with like 45 computers. Never mind, I'm gonna
right.
shut up now.
Well, it's interesting because I listened to an episode of 99% Invisible a while ago, and they talk about net metering and homes that have solar panels and stuff like that. And it was just really interesting because I didn't know this. The rate at which what energy watts cost changes like every 5 minutes,
Yeah,
and sometimes like at night when the generators are creating more electricity than is being consumed, it's actually they pay the companies to take it because they can't shut down their thing. And I just think like how awesome would it be to have like on your Nest at home or whatever, or just a separate thing that shows what the current rate is for
wow.
electricity. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then
that would be really cool. That's something I could use.
oh, absolutely, because then I would think, or if nothing else, it would help me be more mindful of like, yeah, I don't need to be running the washer right now. I can do it when I go to bed.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. We're supposed to basically take all of our major electricity use and put it outside of the zone when we're generating solar power. And that's
Yeah,
where you get your biggest bang because
right.
you're giving back to the grid at a greater rate than you're going to take from it later, basically,
Yeah. Well,
monetarily speaking.
and which brings up another interesting point about net metering is, at what rate should people be paid for the electricity they're putting back into the grid? Because power companies are getting it at a wholesale rate from the power generators and then selling it to us, the consumer, at a retail rate. And so, should they get the retail rate taken off of their bill or just the wholesale rate? I don't know. It's a very interesting thing that I didn't understand about net metering with solar energy. And it was very interesting because the very first guy that ever did it put up some solar panels on some projects. I want to, it might have been in Boston, and just wired it up himself, thinking, I'll bet it when we pump electricity out, it's just going to roll the the meter backwards, and it did.
Well, what do you know? Well, I have to say too, one thing that I'm seeing here, at least in California, which I would like to see, considering how much sunlight we do have.
Yeah.
They're like all of the schools, municipalities, and the like, anywhere where they had open parking,
Uh-huh.
it's now sort of covered because it's solar paneled.
Really?
Yeah, and for the first time ever, driving down Highway 4, there's this big field that's always been like open and useless. There's one port that's closest to the road that it's either always used as the pumpkin patch, and then it's the Christmas tree lot, and sometimes during the spring, summer, or fall, it's maybe like a tent revival will happen. And yes, there
Yeah.
have been tent revivals within distance of
It's
my home, Trent.
it's where the gypsies set up to sell their blankets on the side of the freeway.
No, definitely not. No, I'm talking
Oh.
about full-on revival preachers come,
Really?
yeah, feel the Lord kind of thing.
Oh my gosh.
So that's what it is. But then there's always the other part that's closest to the freeway that's useless because it's just behind all these, clods of dirt. And recently somebody they set up a solar farm there. It's nothing but a bunch of solar panels about 5 foot off the
Smart.
ground.
Super smart.
Yeah. The only bummer that when it comes to solar is the one company this is like one of the things that Obama always got flack about because putting money into renewable resources.
Right,
And
yeah.
there's this big company in I think the San Jose or Fremont area that was building a revolutionary solar collector that was something crazy, more percentage efficient than the current just flat panels.
Panels,
It would
yeah.
use like round tubes, and it would
Yes,
be able to concentrate even more energy.
Right.
And the reason why they didn't work was because the parts involved for the inefficient solar panels were economically so much cheaper
Yep.
they could never come in at a price point to beat them.
Yep. Yeah.
So and actually, that's one of the things too that you got to realize in life. It is crazy how much the economics of things just impact them for failure. As a matter of fact, I think I recently read an article that involved Google Glass, and it was talking about some of the failures out there and the products that should have taken off but didn't. And a lot of the time, it's because of the economics behind. Oh, I know what it was. It was this great video that I saw about the decommissioning of the Concorde.
Oh,
The
okay. The
supersonic,
ship.
yeah.
Or no, the plane.
Yeah, the supersonic
plane. Yeah.
And it was a great little YouTube. I don't even know how I landed on it, but it was really great, and it was informative, and really it just came all down to the economics that people were willing to do this, and the upkeep of the vehicles was so much, and they could never do a transcontinental. Is that the right word? They could never do coast to coast supersonic because the supersonic laws forbid the sonic boom from occurring over residential areas. It could only happen over
when
the
they were over
ocean.
the sea. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was an amazing little video, and it just shows the economics behind things. That's it. Well, money. It's any shock. Money makes the world go around.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm making it sound like it's an amazing revelation.
Who'd have thought?
It's just crazy, Trent. It's just super nuts.
Another piece of tech that I think is interesting, VR is I mean VR, right? In parentheses, because I feel like
VR ready for it.
Violet.
I stole that from Silicon Valley, actually.
Oh, I haven't watched this season yet.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all I said. Never mind. Don't worry about
Okay.
it. But anyway, what about the VR,
so
man?
VR, which is essentially, and I have a hard time calling 360 video VR.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from.
Do you understand what I'm saying? That said, Google out of VidCon just announced that they are starting a new project called VR 180 Videos, and they're going to sell a headset that you slide your phone into, and we've seen 360 videos on a 2D screen. You just drag and pull around to the different points of it. So this would allow you to then turn side to side to see it. But the really innovative part is not the headset, but they are creating dual lens cameras to shoot what they're calling VR 180 videos.
I'm not following you.
Yeah, so they're teaming up with a ton of different companies, everyone from LG to you name it, and they're going to be small cameras that have two lenses, and then you can shoot 180 degrees with it. And then so it'll be like this, and so it's shooting through its peripheral 180 degrees with the camera, and so then you could be a YouTuber, shoot it, or shoot your video or whatever, and then someone can watch the video as if they had 180 purview, just like as if they were there.
Oh wow! So don't worry about the whole room. Just focus right here where I'm at, and you can look around.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm more, the thing that I'm more interested in is augmented reality. If you want to get right down to it,
and to me, that is virtual. That is VR.
Yeah, that's what I really want. Because I want because I want to be Tom Cruise in Minority Report and moving things, or Tony Stark in one of them Avengers movies, and I want to be able to do that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if I want to be crazy, I want to go out in the front yard and just be able to build some Minecraft stuff that only I'm seeing.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, the second that there is a VR Lego building game, goodbye world.
That's it. That was Trent, folks. We saw him.
We had a good run.
We lost him to the Legos once again.
We had a good run.
We always lose him to the Legos. I don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, Trent, was there anything also in your corner this week, or was that little bit of tech there?
That was kind of it for me this week. Kind of YouTube centric, but good to know at least. I think we're still going to see YouTube stars. They're still going to be content partners. But for the layman trying to make a living off of it, it gets a little more interesting.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of interesting, I think, and it's I don't want to be hypocritical because we are also going through YouTube, but we're just doing that for, I'm not sure if it's for exposure or just because.
Well, I mean, it's accessibility, right? Like it's there, and we've pulled from it in the past. If we didn't get an audio recording or something like that, sometimes it's a backup almost of free storage.
Yeah, definitely. It's that, and plus, it's another way for people to find us, because right now our brand is weak and we need to strengthen our brand. But the other thing that I find interesting is that now kids are growing up, because I'm experiencing this with my own, where they're already aware of, they're like trying to find their brand. It used to, look, man, it used to be like, holy crap, what am I going to be when I grow up? But now instead it's like, well, what's my channel going to be about?
Yeah.
You know, and it's true. It's like, if you want to even think about it, it's almost like the expectation that you need to get yourself out there. You need to be getting on YouTube and doing your Snapchat stories and Instagramming things.
Well, and that's, man, it blows me away that they're catching on to it so early too, because I remember distinctly when I figured out, like, oh, Kevin Smith wears the coat. He always has a snapback on. That's his brand. I get it. And it's developed over time, but like the moment that I made that realization of, like, oh my gosh, yeah, he's making himself recognizable. So, and like everything else along those lines, I mean, who are we to blow the smoke up the proverbial ass? I mean, it's very obvious that Kevin Smith was an early adopter to creating his own brand via the internet. But to me, it took me a while for it to catch on, because no one was talking about it. Now you're right. It's a common thing that people talk about.
Yeah, my kid's got like 3 YouTube channels or something. I don't know what's going on, man. I just don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, she could be making more than you soon.
Yeah, you never know. Really, it's just gonna take like the one thing. I mean, because it is amazing. Speaking of amazing and retro and bringing it all together, Trent, there was one other thing I wanted to talk about, and the frustrating part is it's the thing we know the least about.
Girls?
No, not that. Something else.
Okay.
You know about girls.
Ugh.
No.
The more I know, the more I know I don't know.
You're a smart man, Trent Hunsaker. No, it's just the vague announcement that Atari is getting back into the hardware business.
I saw that, yeah.
And they had the darndest thing, because all they showed was it was a wood. The video is just a wood grain front. You can see that, and then you can see like highly polished and sexy version of those ridges that we remember from the front of the 2600.
2600,
Talking
yeah.
about knowing your brand, and then that's it. And I think if you go to, what is it, like AtariBox.com?
Okay.
Or something, you can sign up for more info and you can see that video, but let me see if that's what it is. I think it might be.
And it's interesting too, because just this week,
Yep, that's it.
And you can check it out. Sega is now turning their entire library into what they're calling the Netflix of retro gaming.
So you'll be able to subscribe to a service and order up a game and play it?
Well, so a little different, but that's the terminology they used. So they're going to be putting their entire catalog online. You can play it for free with ads, or you can pay $1.99 and have the game without ads. But
and the craziest thing, this is the craziest part, Trent. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'll let you finish the thought.
Yeah, no, you're good.
But I want you to think about this now. Because it used to be we were sitting in front of gaming systems wishing we could only have something just as good as the arcade game. And now our web browsers are able to play the games of our childhood.
So and this is what they're working at right now is right now they're only emulators, but they want to do full ports, meaning they would have to kind of recreate the game for the hardware that it's going to be played on. But right now they've already got games out, and I've played many of them for mobile, but they're looking for Steam integration later in the year. So man, retro is in, man.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I have to admit, this little bit of news about AtariBox.com has me interested, much in the same way that the NES emulator, the Super Nintendo emulator that came out that looked like a mini NES. That was pretty cool. So and I remember too, there was like an Atari joystick you could buy.
Yep.
That you would be able to just plug in and play all the games.
Like, all the games preloaded on it. Yeah.
Even though I don't know how I would. Do you think Pitfall still holds up?
Oh, I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Because I'll tell you too, I don't know. I think with the retro gaming thing, something else came up, and I felt the pain because I think I maybe only got through the speed tunnel once. how Battletoads was made to be an impossible to win game, basically.
It's so true. Well, and on top of it too, depending on the game, there were no save points. They didn't have enough memory because they used the memory to do something like Sega.
Yeah, that's more important. Boy, Battletoads was a bear of a game, though. I remember that
was
speed
a
tunnel
beast.
made me want to just jam the controller through my temple. And I
Don't
don't
do
think
that, Will.
I don't think I got much farther than that ever. But do you know the reason why it was so difficult?
No.
It was publishers attempting to make money to drive people to buy games, because at that time game rental had become huge.
Sure. Yeah, and on top of it, then you could also capitalize, which my brothers at least got in trouble for the 1-900 numbers for game tips.
Oh, very good. Yeah, but
yeah.
But the macroeconomics of Battletoads was just specifically, you're not going to rent this for more than 5 days.
You can't clear it in a weekend.
You're going to need to buy this sumbitch, because they were seeing hits. It's just amazing. Money.
That's awesome.
Money. It's all about the money.
Drives
Trent.
everything.
Does. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Greatly appreciate it. You want to find out more about Trent? He's a part of him. I am on Twitter. I am NetheadWW. The show is NetHeads on air, and you have been watching another edition of NetHeads on Smodco Internet Radio.
Smodcast.com.
Oh no, sorry, I got it. See, this is what happens when you don't do.
It's good.
Hold on. We'll be back
Soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker signing off.
I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
Boy, I just it did it suddenly seem like I just cut out of that show like I let loose a bad fart in church?
No, but I'll tell you, someone who used to be a churchgoer, there was nothing worse than a pew fart.
Oh.
I'm not even kidding, dude. And especially like our pews.
Especially because Sunday morning, who knows what people were doing Saturday night?
Yeah, it's the worst. And sometimes if you woke up late, you hadn't shit yet, and so you've got a turd honking for the right of way, man. It wants out.
Oh boy, we were socially and technologically conscious, and then when it comes down to it, it all just comes down to a turtle head.